Hey there everyone, welcome back to our channel, and today we are going to talk about Figma, how you can get started in Figma, and of course, how you can create wireframes the easy way. Hey guys, if you're new to this channel, I'm Franz Escolastico. I'm a full stack designer based here in the Philippines. So before we jump in, let's quickly talk about why we should create wireframes if we can just jump in and design mockups. So wireframes are a crucial step in UX and UI design because they allow designers to plan and organize the layout and functionality of the website or an app before starting the visual design. So before creating your wireframe, it's important to know your purpose, the goals, and of course the contents of the design. So this will help guide your decisions throughout the wireframing process. So ask questions like, who is the target audience? What are the main tasks that users will be able to accomplish on the website or an app? Or how do you want users to feel when using the design? So once you have the clear idea of the purpose and goals, you can now start sketching the layout and functionality of the wireframe. So this is where you'll be determining the overall structure and the organization of the design, as well as the placement of the links, the images, and the buttons. Lastly, this can be done by hand, by pen and paper, as that what I've used to do before, or of course the prototyping platform like Adobe XD, of course Figma. This is where I'm going to teach you to start designing in Figma, and Sketch and other prototyping tools. So first thing to do is I'm going to show you around Figma for those of you that doesn't know about Figma or just new to Figma. So we're not going to skip this ahead, although of course there are some commands here that you should know by your hand, and maybe if you're confused about something, just drop some comments in our Discord community, or you can just jump into the Figma tutorials on their website. Okay, so now as you can see on the screen, I already have the starter design project, and then we can now go ahead and create the new design file. So let's just click here, and now so we'll just rename this as our wireframe. Okay, so here, as you can see on the left upper left corner, we have the icon of Figma, the letter F. So we have the quick actions where you can search for menus, commands, maybe paste, something like that. And then we have the file if you want to create a design file, Figma file, or maybe save your Figma into a local copy. Then we also have the edit, view, object, and so on. So help account. So the first update here in Figma is you can now select the theme or the interface of Figma. So you can have the light mode or the dark mode. So you can go in the preferences, the theme, light, select light or dark, or maybe you have the system theme that it will automatically turn into light or dark. So I always have the dark since it is my eye for like bright objects, something like that. Okay, and so here we can here's the symbol of the frame. So once you click that on our design panel on the right side, you can see the design, prototype, and inspect. So the design, you can select several frames from phone to paper. So phone, you can select several here from iPhone 14 down to the Android large, tablet, desktop, presentation, watch, paper, social media. So yes, you can also create social media posts here in Figma. Okay, and then here you have the object. So maybe we can select some frame. Let's start with the desktop, which is the 1440 by 1024. So there you have it. And of course, you can also change the background if you don't want something darker. You can always select the background here, maybe white or grayish. And I always wanted to have a darker background. Okay. So here's our desktop, the 1440 width with 1024 height. So as you can see, all of the specifics here on the design panel. The alignment, and of course, the you can align vertical if you have like some elements here on our frame. So we can discuss that later on. So the frame, under frame, we have the section where this is another update from Figma where you can group together all of the frames or frames components here in the our frame. So we can I'll show you to you later on. And also you have the slides. So those are just the several updates on Figma that we will tackle on later on upon while we are going to, of course, create the design. So now we're just discussing the several commands and tools here in Figma. So another one is the shape. So there are several shapes: the rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygons, and star. This is just simple one where you can create several shapes: rectangle, maybe a line, ellipse. So yep. So let's just remove that first. And then we also have the pen tool or the pencil. This is similar to Illustrator if you're going to create some abstract shapes, blob. Then we also have the text where you can, of course, type your contents. We also have here the shortcut for resources. I use this one for the plugins. So I already have the several plugins that, of course, I will give you some suggestions and options for what to use in Figma. And you also have here the hand or the move tool, move tool hand, yeah. So you can freely move the frames and other things around here in Figma. And then lastly, we have the comments or feedback tool. So if you have if you're collaborating with your team or you're showing around some design in your clients, you just have to click maybe here, then mention them. I mention first myself and maybe say something na check this out. And then click enter. And of course, they will be notified that you've mentioned them in your design. And it will show your feedbacks here on the feedback panel on the right side. So if this is already done, you can just check it. And you can see the history by clicking the filter. So that's more of the basic tools and commands here in Figma. So now let's have I'll tour you around with the basic steps in designing or in controlling your design panel. So maybe let's have some rectangle here. Rectangle or square. Well, they called it rectangle for some reason. So here you can align it on the center, left, or right. So that's the command, or in the middle part. So those are the basic stuff here on the design panel. And then you can also see the constraints, or maybe you need to fix this. Let's say you'll have a header and you need to fix it when scrolling. So you just have to click this fix position when scrolling. And then we also have this similar to Photoshop and Illustrator where you can edit the color, make it look transparent, something like that. And also you have the something Here, maybe you have this one. Maybe you have 2 elements or 2 squares, and you need to have this as auto layout. So this is a good feature in Figma where you can auto layout everything here in the design and make this organized as much as possible. So we'll just need to click plus, and yep, it will now be organized. Maybe you need to click duplicate this, make them auto layout, something like that. And of course, I will teach you around, we'll be focusing in auto layout in our next series on the 4th or 5th series, where we'll tackle all of the features in auto layout, the components, the variants, everything here in Figma. So right now, we will not overcomplicate this series or this episode because we're just starting ahead in Figma. So yep, and I don't like you to be overwhelmed in this first episode, so we're just starting out. So let's remove this one first. Also, there is also a stroke here where you can outline, and maybe you need an outline, a thicker outline here, as a stroke of the elements or the shape. You can control if it's on center, inside, outside, or maybe advanced settings. Maybe a dash. You can also have some effects. So you can fully control everything here. So they have inner shadow, drop shadow, layer blur, and background blur. And of course, and if you want to export this into PNG or SVG, you can feel free to do so. So that's the good part of Figma's feature. And also the important part here, when you're designing, you can also grid this frame as your guide. So here you can see layout grid, so you just have to click that plus, and you can select from grid columns. Of course, I usually use the column 8 grid, and you can select everything here from the type, if it's on center, stretch, the gutter, the space between, the margin, and the transparency of the guide. So of course, we are going to tackle them in the responsive series, or in responsive episode, or also the components. We are going to tackle everything there once we're finished with the basic one, this one, the next episode, the mood board. So yep, we're going to tackle them everything, so don't worry about this. So personally, I usually start with rough sketching using my iPad and Concept. So those are just the ugly versions of the wireframes, just to jot down all of my ideas and just brainstorming. And then right after that, I transfer those sketches into Figma. Of course, manually, I just recreated them in Figma. So yep, that's my process. Of course, if you're comfortable with that idea, feel free to copy, feel free to do so. But then if you're confident enough to use Figma, then just go ahead and directly design or create a wireframe using Figma. So as you can see here in the screen, I'm showing the one of what I did to one of my client. So this is a UI UX job or task, so they need to see the wireframe first, or just black and white low fidelity mockup. So but this one is an enhanced version of the sketches or the wireframe. I still sketch this in Concept, but not all of the screens. Okay, it's just the ideas, the brainstorming, and all of that. And then, because they need to see the flow first before we can come up with the final design. And then, right after, I copy this, duplicate them, and turn them into high fidelity mockup with the design, all of the colors, and the interactions. So this just one of the example to you guys, so you can have the idea of what we're going to do. And yep. So now let's jump in and let's create a simple wireframe using Figma. So here on the screen, you can see I have a example of app screen that I've pulled out from Fitbit Premium. So of course, this is already a high fidelity mockup. It's actually already live. So if you're familiar with Fitbit, and you'll know that this is already live in their app. So we are now going to create this one into a simple wireframe. Of course, you can sketch first if you're comfortable to do so. But now, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to start ahead with Figma. So first, let's select a frame here on the phone since it's an app. Maybe let's use, let's inspect first. So this is 500 by 1080. Maybe this is a low res, that's why it's 500. Let's try iPhone 13 Pro Max or iPhone 14. And let's adjust the width by 500. And let's match the height. Okay. So now we have our frame that is matched with our example app screen. So what we're going to do is remember that on a wireframe, you don't need it to be perfect. Okay, it's just an ugly sketch or something, just to have you like practice and jot down all your ideas. Okay, so let's start with this, but I usually have something like a line for the text, or let's make it a rectangle, so maybe something like that. And for this one, let's have a ellipse or circle. So this is 3 circles. So now we have 3 circles. Okay, so maybe we can just there. And then we also have the profile icon. So let's just copy this one and have it here, make it a bit bigger. And then we have this Fitbit Premium. So let's just use our thin rectangle and maybe have this. And this one, for, I'm not sure if this is just like a bookmark or something. So maybe we can just use a square. Remember that a wireframe composes of shapes, lines, and you can also use text, placeholder text. But for now, we'll just use shapes. So maybe that. Okay. And maybe we can have this line. So let's have a line here. There. And let's change the stroke color. Let's use an eyedropper and match this into our shapes. Okay. And we also have the arrow. So for the arrow, maybe if you're comfortable with pen, you can feel free to create a shape using pen. So there. And let's match again the color. And maybe the stroke will be 2. And click done. Something like that. And maybe we can make it a bit smaller. So there. Center it. And this one, it's a text again. So let's just duplicate this. And maybe because it's more of like a sub headline, so let's make it a bit thinner. Oops. let's just adjust the stroke or there. Okay, and then we will just duplicate this arrow and rotate this so it will be facing on the right side, and there you go. So now we have this yesterday info, and for this, let's just copy this small square, maybe that or below there. And this one, let's use this, although make it bigger there, and maybe let's have a stroke. Let's add some stroke on, or no, don't add a stroke. We'll just add a text on top of this. So, or not text here. We can use the line for the number. Let's just duplicate this. Let's duplicate. And let's reposition this on top. And change the color to a darker. So, there you go. And then let's copy this again for this tab text. Although let's adjust the size, and maybe here on the shoe icon, let's just copy again this circle, place this on top of the big circle, and adjust the position on top so it will show, and click here. Okay, and let's just maybe reposition it on the middle. The good thing here in Figma is there is a guide for every time you position the elements or the shapes, so you'll know if it's on the middle or on the left side or right side. So that's the good part of designing in Figma. You always have a guide. Okay, and now another here, so let's just duplicate and make it smaller. There you go. And let's just duplicate again, position on top, but make it smaller for the top icon. And let's copy the color here, and maybe the text, let's use this. So duplicate, but let's make it a bit smaller there. Let's adjust this height, make it closer, and then here just grab this all and duplicate this, copy, and then paste. Or you can just Command D for the shortcut in Mac. Okay, so there. Let's adjust. Okay, that will work. And then here, let's have a rectangle. There. Let's place it on the middle and have like this one. So let's just copy this, place it on top, change the color there, and don't mind the inside icon, it's just a wireframe, so let's leave this let's leave it as is. And then maybe we can copy this or this too, duplicate, place it on top again, and let's just adjust so you can see it better. Let's adjust and let's just reposition it so it's a bit centered there. And let's just copy them all, duplicate again, and position here. Okay. And this one, maybe let's just adjust so it will have some space at the bottom. So this part, let's have another rectangle. Maybe adjust it. And then let's copy all of the circles to emphasize this icon. So let's copy, place it on top, make it smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have 5. Let's have 5 circles. There you go. Now have 5 circles, maybe a bit. Let's make it bigger so it will stretch out on our rectangle. There. And hold on. Let's match the height of the footer or the menu. And let's adjust this. Okay, and let's grab them and have this thin line. Place this as the representation of the text. Let's zoom in. So let's place this here. Oops. Again here. Duplicate them. And another one. Okay. So what's missing will be this. But no, let's just leave it as is. And this one. So we will have another rectangle here. So duplicate this and insert it here. Okay, so maybe let's just change the color to something darker. Okay, so now we have the bare bone or the wireframe of this app. So as you can see, it's not perfect. We just match what Fitbit has on this screen. So you just have to make use of the shapes and the lines. It's just easy as is. So if you have like a personal project or maybe a freelance project to your client, you don't need to show the wireframe because that's just the blueprint of the project or the app or the website. What do you need to show will be the high resolution or the high fidelity mockup, similar with this example Fitbit Premium. So let's create another example. This time maybe like a hero section or a part of the landing page. So this is a website. So let's select a frame. So under desktop, let's have the desktop, the 1440 by 1024. I mostly use this frame size to my clients and all of my personal projects. Okay, so usually the website has a menu tabs or the header. So let's use, just for the wireframe, let's use the rectangle again. There. And as you creating the wireframe, of course, you're familiar with the parts of the website, right? So it has a logo. So for the logo, we'll use the ellipse or a circle. Let's have this darker. Okay. and the header has menus or tabs. So we'll just use, this time we will use text. Okay, so maybe let's just say link 1. So let's adjust to be on 20. Link 1 will be here. Then duplicate again. So this will be link 2. Then duplicate again. Link 3. Duplicate. Link 4. So that's our tab. So let's move it here, and maybe a website or a header has a contact button or maybe a call to action button here on the side. So let's have another rectangle. Adjust the color. There. So now we have a header, right? And here in our hero section, or on the part or on the banner, usually it has just a text, a button, and the image on the side. So for the text, let's just use this one. Let's duplicate, and I will adjust. Mostly this is on display mode, not H1 but display, so it's bigger on the H1. We will discuss it on our design system, the different headings, body, the display, everything. Okay, so don't worry about this for now. So maybe let's use 70, and let's just say lorem ipsum dolor, the ever familiar text, something like that. Okay, and maybe some, let's just duplicate so it's on 2 line, and maybe a tagline next below this. So this one will be maybe on 30. So there. And maybe it has another call to action button. So let's just copy this. Let's just enter this. And this on the side, we will have another rectangle as an image. So there you have it. You now have the hero section as your wireframe, as your black and white or the low fidelity mock-up wireframe, right? So it's as easy as is. You just have to experiment, and of course know the goals and purpose of the website, of what you're going to build, and see some examples online, see some live websites online, and investigate how their line up or layout on each other. So congratulations, you now have the basic knowledge in creating wireframe using Figma, and of course getting around how to use Figma. And now you have an assignment. So I want you guys to create your own wireframe. So maybe look for an app, your go-to app like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, any app that you want, and select a specific screen and turn it into a wireframe. And if you're feeling generous, maybe have something like a website, a whole landing page, and create it or convert it into a wireframe. No cheating. Don't use any third-party apps or plugin that instantly turn them into a wireframe. I want you guys to manually sketch them into a wireframe. And of course, guys, I would love to see what you've done by sharing them in our Discord community here. So please join, and of course say hi to the community and say hi to other creatives out there and introduce yourself. So see you there. So on our next episode, we will cover how we can create a mood board for your next website or an app. So guys, I hope you learned something in our first episode creating wireframe and getting around Figma this 2023. And of course, if you like this video, you know the drill. Don't forget to smash the like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more upcoming series, especially here in our Figma tutorial series and more helpful videos soon. So see you in the next one. Bye-bye!